Well, hello. It's me, James, coming to you again live. My beloved friends here on another lovely day. It's a little overcast here, but it's warm. And overcast or not, warm or not, it is a moment to be alive. And I am very thankful for it. As we come into this space today, wherever you are and whenever you are watching this, I just want you to know you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift you already are. Right this very moment, you are a gift. You are precious and you are unconditionally loved. And those are pieces that sometimes very hard to internalize and believe, particularly if at some other point in your life, or even now, someone is telling you otherwise. Anything less than you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved as a unique gift that you are, anything less than that is a lie. Just be mindful of that as we come together today. Now, today I wanted to talk a little bit about something I try to practice in my personal life, and I actually encourage in a class that I'm teaching right now on healthy relationships. Something we do to start class every time, something I try to do between all events in my life, and it's called, in my mind, practicing the pause. Catching my breath, reframing the moment. You can call it any number of things. But when we're changing gears from one thing to the next, or when we're changing gears from, it's another form of changing gears, I guess, from listening to potentially responding, it can be helpful to just gather ourselves for a moment with a breath. It can be a deep breath, doesn't have to come out in a sigh, even if whatever you've just heard in conversation is a frustration. It can just be a deep breath, and you let it go. And when you let it go, you let it sink in for just, it's really a nanosecond for me now, really. It takes just a quick second, unless I'm very frustrated or very wound up, and I might need a second moment to practice a pause. But every moment, I get to choose in that moment how I will respond to what's arising around me and what's arising within me. I get to choose how I will speak, act, what I might say. All those things are in my power in this moment, including not saying anything. We live in a world where, whether it's because we want to get the last word or because we always have something that we think is cogent and valuable to say, we speak into a moment that perhaps silence might have better encircled. And it's perhaps, if you're an extrovert, it's because you're discomforted by silence. If you're an introvert, you would prefer the silence, but you're surrounded by extroverts who are constantly speaking up because they think outside their bodies. Extroverts do. They say their words and they're thinking them while they're saying them. Whereas introverts pause and ponder them inside, and by the time they want to say something, perhaps the moment when all the extroverts have finished saying their things is past. In any case, taking a moment to stop, to listen to what's happening in the moment. You know, it brings me back to that quote from the letter of James: be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. Quick to listen. So immediately listen, and not just to the audible voices of the one who's in front of you who might be saying something, whether it's a live person, or perhaps it's a Zoom meeting you're in, or perhaps you're watching a news program or some other kind of program. Listen. Be quick to listen. What is going on? What is rising in you? What is coming up in this moment that maybe should be spoken, or maybe should be left unspoken? What can I do right now in this moment, or not do, that is most suited for the moment I find myself? These choices are ours. And this idea of practicing the pause can become a habit. It can become something you develop. For me, it grew out of my morning meditation practice and then my afternoon meditation practice. As I practiced pausing and letting go of my need to do something, my incessant, demanding inner voice telling me I must do something or say something in order to be valuable, instead of listening to those, meditation taught me to take a step back. And then what I found was helpful to me is, as I was going into a meeting with someone else, just to pause, pay attention to that breath. And as I pay attention to the breath, what I'm really doing is taking myself back to that moment when I had practiced letting go before. It takes me back to that moment, and it brings up that sense of inner calm in the moment. It slows my thinking, my breathing, and hopefully my desire to react in the moment. Am I still reactive sometimes? Absolutely. Will you be? Absolutely. But this idea of pausing, this idea of just stopping, you've heard those wonderful things when you're angry, when somebody says something that makes you mad, count to 10. 10 isn't enough, to 20, that kind of thing. Well, this is a similar thought that doesn't require you to go to that cognitive part of your brain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It takes you back into your body itself. So instead of focusing on thinking about something, the numbers 1 through 10 or 20 or whatever, I am paying attention to my own body. Oh, look, my heart is racing a bit. Oh, look, I'm breathing more quickly and more shallowly. Something must be stirring inside of me. And I'm more likely to get into that fear mode, for instance, where I want to fight or run away or freeze. All those pieces, all can happen in that quick moment of pausing, that quick moment of slowing down and slowing the moment down. If you're a fan of the Matrix movie series with Keanu Reeves, in the moments when they would slow everything down as he was making his moves, and he would be dodging things that were coming towards him because he could see that coming. It's almost like slowing down time just enough to be present, really present in that moment. Perhaps respond the way you would really want to respond, not just the way that your reactive self quickly responds and perhaps leads to regret. So just a thought for today. And the thought is, try practicing the pause. Try practicing it when you don't need it so much, when somebody isn't frustrating you, when you're just going from one activity to another, when it's time to get up and go make a dinner. As you move into the kitchen, catch your breath. This is an opportunity for me to make dinner. As you're leaving the house to go somewhere and get in your car to drive, your initial response, rush to the car, get in the car, drive. But what about if you just slow down? Slow it down just a moment. I'm getting ready to get in the car. I'm leaving my house, or I'm leaving work to go to my house, or I'm leaving whatever to go somewhere else. as I'm making this transition, let me catch up with myself. So that's all that practicing the pause really is. I make it sound like it's something simple. It's not simple. I don't want to pretend like it is. But if you practice it, you might find you're more mindful of the moment you're in, and you might respond more in a way that, as you look back, you're more pleased with that response than the more reactive one that has left emotional and other kinds of wounds behind. So take a moment, pause, and as always, remember you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift you are infinitely precious and unconditionally loved for the gift you already are. Until the next time, wish you all the best.